Body of Light studio. Today we're going to take a look at the lungs, where the heart is situated within the lungs, and some bony anatomy of our rib cage so we can identify where in our bodies we feel our breath. And then we'll use that knowledge to do a quick 20-minute yoga practice. This will be good for getting you up and out of your desk if you've been seated all day. If you're feeling anxious, this can help to calm the nervous system. If you're feeling depressed, it can help to uplift you. So let's take a look at our lungs, our heart, and our ribs.
All right, so here we are with our little anatomical man. And you can see his clavicles here on top, the collarbones. He's not super anatomically correct. Your first rib, which is here on him, is actually kind of underneath the collarbone and a little bit on top of it too. So he's not super correct. But then you'll see ribs 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, all of these ribs are situated just a little bit higher up on the sternum than is shown here. So we'll look at that in our own bodies in just a moment. All right, let's take off his rib cage. And let's take a look at the heart situated within the ribs. So the heart is this little red piece here, and you can see my 2 pointer fingers are on the front of the lungs, and then we'll take off one lung and the other lung, and you can see his heart, whoops, there it went, is really held in the lungs. So the heart, you can think about it, the lungs and the heart like a ball and socket joint. So the heart would be the ball and the lungs would be the sockets, and they're really holding the heart from all sides. All right, let's look at one more image here before we get started. So this is an upside down bronchial tree. We're looking at staying healthy with the seasons. Now, if I flip the book upside down, this is what it really looks like situated within your body. So here you can see the voice box, the trachea. You can feel it on yourself. It's like a vacuum tube, pipe, very sensitive. Be gentle when you touch that. And then you can see where the trachea splits into the 2 bronchial tubes. One goes right, one goes left, and then into the lungs. And it looks like a tree. So we have this inverted tree within our bodies. Okay, let's go sit and get started with our practice.
Let's sit in Ustrasana. The block will go wide ways under your sitting bones, across your pelvis, on the low or medium height, so wide ways being this way. This is the low height, this is the medium height. If one block is too low, you can put another block on top of that. I like to use 1 or 2 blankets depending on the time of day that I'm practicing on top of my blocks. If that's still too low, you can stack your other block right on top. And then especially if you are seated higher off of the ground as I am, you'll want something in your lap. This can be a rolled up blanket, a pillow, your second block to support your hands so that the shoulder roll can stay broad. So let's identify our anatomy on our own body. Gently touch your throat. You'll feel that vacuum tube like structure in the throat, that's your trachea. And using your pointer finger, middle finger, your first 2 fingers, put your pointer finger on top of the clavicle, right at the sternum, the collarbone, and your middle finger underneath the clavicle. And then you'll go down to just barely below that. That's your second rib. So the collarbone sits just above, superior, above the second rib. And then you'll identify your next rib, where it inserts into your sternum. That's your third rib. So at about the third rib is where your trachea splits into your 2 bronchial tubes. One goes to the right, one goes to the left. And then you'll move down to the 4th rib, and then the 5th rib. And about the 5th rib is where the bronchial tubes move into the lungs. So we saw in the book how the trachea moves down, it splits into the 2 tubes, and it continues that downward slope into the lungs. So it's a little different on everybody. I think my bronchial tubes insert the lungs more around the 4th rib, but maybe you'll start to be able to sense that for yourself. So a couple interesting things. One is that where the bronchial tubes enter the lungs, that's called the hilum. So if you've ever seen a sprout come up out of a seed, the point of the seed where the sprout comes out, that's the hilum. So the lungs have that sprout coming up, and those are the bronchial tubes. And then another interesting thing that we'll talk about is that your bronchial tree, your lungs, they rotate out as you inhale and they release in as you exhale. So as you inhale, the lungs rotate out and back, and as you exhale, the lungs rotate in, forward and in. Inhaling, the lungs rotate out. Exhaling, the lungs rotate in. So you can rest your hands in your lap and close your eyes. Sense your weight on your sitting bones. Release your femurs, your thigh bones down. And as the legs release down, the spine grows up. Level your cheekbones. Deepen your eyes and their sockets. And sense the space above the crown of your head. So you have this energetic space that surrounds you. Your body actually, the energy of your body extends all around you, above, below, front, back, all sides. You have an energetic body around you. Can you grow bigger and bigger, taller into this energetic space that surrounds you? And with your arms resting, your spine lifted, sense your breath. And at this point in the practice, you're not trying to manipulate the breath, you're just observing where you are. The breath might be short and shallow, it might be long and deep. Can you feel the ribs widening out to the sides of the room? Maybe you can sense how the lungs surround your heart. You give a buoyancy to the heart. Can you sense how the lungs externally rotate? They rotate out on the inhale, and there's a release back into the midline on the exhale. I'm going to take a short breath practice, only about 3 minutes. Alternate nostril breathing. So you can slide your eyes open for just a moment, and you'll be taking your pointer finger, middle finger from your right hand to your third eye, just above the brow in the center of the forehead. And your thumb is going to close off your right nostril as you inhale through the left. Your ring finger will close off your left nostril as you exhale through the right. Inhale through the right nostril. You can close your eyes, follow along, or continue to watch. You'll close your right nostril with your thumb and exhale out of the left nostril. So you keep your head straight forward. I'm going to turn my head to the side so you can see. You'll inhale through the left nostril. Close the left nostril, exhale through the right nostril. Inhale through the right. Close the right nostril, exhale left. Inhale left. Close the left, exhale right. So you're switching on the exhale. You'll inhale to the right side when you're ready. Take your time. You may be moving faster or slower than me. Close the right, exhale out of the left. Continue like that on your own timing. We'll do this for about another minute and a half. If your right arm gets tired, you can support your elbow with your left hand. Allow the eyes to move deep into the sockets and rest behind the cheekbones. Imagine that your inhale could cool the third eye. If you want to be more anatomical about that, you can imagine the inhale cooling the pituitary gland. Sensing the rotation of the lungs as you inhale, the lungs spiral open away from midline. You're switching nostrils on your exhale. As you exhale, the lungs release, they roll back into the midline. Switching nostrils on the exhale. You'll take one more complete round on your own time. Jaw is soft. Tongue resting at the roof of the mouth. Eyes released in. And the next time you exhale out of the right nostril will be your last, and you'll release your hands down into your lap. Observe the effects that this very simple breath practice has on the nervous system. And slide your eyes open, and let's set our props off to the side. And we'll come onto hands and knees. If your knees are not comfortable here, you can put a blanket underneath your knees for padding. Knees under the pelvis, hands under your shoulders. And you're going to round the spine towards the ceiling. Flex the spine, maximum flexion. Let your head hang down. Rotate your triceps back. Grow your knees down into the ground. And check in with your spine. Move from your tailbone up through your sacrum, up through each vertebra. Where can you flex, round the spine more? Where is it easy to flex? Where is it difficult to flex? I find it more difficult to flex in the lumbar spine, the low thoracic spine. So I really have to focus on that section. A couple more breaths here. Letting the head release down. The brain is pouring out the top of the skull. You're still rotating your triceps back. Your hands are pushing down. Your knees are growing down into the ground. And then we'll reverse. Tail starts to roll up to the ceiling. The sternum slides forward. And now we're in maximum extension. Where is it easy to extend? For most of us, that will be around the sacrum and the lumbar spine. Where is it difficult to extend? Back bend. Most of us, that's behind the heart. Pretty easy behind the neck. So you want to lengthen the back of your neck, lengthen the sides of your waist from your pelvis, the ribs moving forward. And can you bring more extension into the space, the spine behind the heart? And then one more time, we'll flex maximally. This is cat. Head releases down. You can give your head a gentle shake no. Take the pubic bone, narrow and lift it. Turning the triceps back. Spread your palms wide on the floor. Root down through your pointer finger knuckle and stretch the thumb tips towards one another. Pointer finger knuckle at the base of the finger, the knuckles of the palm. Lift the pubis more, lengthen the tail more, and flex the low back more. And then last time, inhaling, coming into maximal extension, not overworking in the lumbar, the low back or cervical neck, bringing more extension into the space behind the heart, the mid-thoracic, upper thoracic spine. Lengthening the ribs,
Side waist forward away from the pelvis. Widening the collarbones. Take an inhale. And then exhale to a neutral spine. Let's stand up on our knees. And first we're going to take Perihelion Gate pose. So you'll step your right foot out to the right, and you want your right foot flat on the ground, pointed out. So if you had shoelaces on, they would be pointing straight up to the ceiling. That might not be comfortable on your ankle. If that's the case, you put a blanket down under your foot so that the foot is grounded. You'll reach your arms open wide. Grow your left knee down to the ground, left shin down. Feel how that lifts the skull and the spine into your crown space. Flip your palms to face up, and then we'll take a side bend. So in gate pose, the hands, it's almost like you're trying to clap the left hand down onto the right. You're probably not going to get there, but sense this connection, this energetic connection between the palms. So the back of the right hand is on your leg, palms facing up, left palm facing down to the right palm. And then lift out of your left pelvic half, grow your left knee down more. Notice how you're rounding forward. You're going to be in a true side bend. So for most of us, we've got to lift a little bit out of our right waist, turn a little bit to the left, and then side bend more around the heart space, so like armpit ribs. Inhale to come up, and we'll do the other side. So your left toes are pointing straight out, left shoelaces up to the ceiling. Reach out wide with your arms, flip your palms to face up. Inhale, and on your exhale, you'll side bend to the left. Remembering that the back of the left hand is on the leg. It's very light on the leg. You're not resting on the arm. Palm is facing up so that ultimately the archetype of the pose, not that we will ever get there in this lifetime, some of us might, but the palms would be connecting into one another. And then grow your right knee down, grow your head away from your right knee, and a tiny bit you're going to turn the heart to the right. The right scapula is softening down the back. And imagine you have some kind of warm liquid, like honey, pouring out of your left ear. You can inhale. Exhale, draw the navel in, lift up, and we'll do one more time each side. So you'll extend your right leg out to the right. Check that your left knee is right underneath your hip. Lift up out of the left hip, growing the left knee down. Take an inhale, grow tall off of your right waist as you side bend, palms of the hands facing one another. Sense your ribs opening as you inhale. They not only open away from the sternum and away from the spine, but they also open away from one another, from the top to the bottom. Turning the heart to the right. There's a lot going on in this pose, so it might be a little difficult to sense the movement of the lungs, but can you sense how the lungs are rotating out as you inhale and releasing in as you exhale? You can look down or up or straight forward, whichever feels best on the neck. If you're feeling depressed, look up. If you're feeling anxious, gaze downward. Inhale, stand up. And then one more time to the left. So left toes pointing straight out. Remember to use your blanket if this is not comfortable to have the foot flat on the ground, or if the foot just doesn't reach. You'll reach your arms out, grow tall out of your right pelvic half, root down through the right knee. You can even kind of drag the right knee backwards a little bit to activate the glute. Flip the palms up, inhale, lift off of your left rib cage, off of your stomach. You've got your stomach over here just under the left lung as you side bend to the left, palms facing one another. Shoulders gliding down the back, finding that release of the left brain into the left side of the skull, jaw relaxed, that deep stretch from the hip, the pelvis, all the way up through the waist, the ribs, the armpit, maybe even a little stretch in your right tricep here. Take an inhale and exhale. You can gaze down. This will help calm the nervous system if you're feeling anxious, or gaze up if you need a little uplifting if you're feeling depressed. On your exhale, navel to spine, come up, and we'll stand up on our knees. So this next one that we'll do, Ustrasana, camel pose, I like to use the blocks for this. So you're on your knees again. You can use your blanket underneath your knees if this is sensitive to you. And then we'll put the block down. Let's start with the blocks on the highest setting. Maybe some of you already know you don't need them. And then you're gonna put your hands on your hips, so your thumbs are right at the SI joints, where your pelvis, your ilium, meets the sacrum, that triangle bone that connects your two pelvic halves. So thumbs are right at that joint. You can feel little indents there. Sometimes we get pain there. And you're going to use your hands to help you lengthen the sacrum down. The pubis will lift up, and you're gonna start to lift the chest. Keep moving the pelvis forward. No crunching in the low back. So your hands are here to remind you to lengthen the tail, lift the pubis up, and then you'll bring your hands onto your blocks. Knees are growing down. Heart is lifting up. Keep the back of the neck long, so you're not letting the head sag. Here you can hear what that just did to my voice. You want to lift the skull and then lengthen all sides of the neck as you extend, back bend through the entire spine. Inhale, exhale, and on your inhale, you'll come up out of the back bend. You can tuck your toes and sit down onto your heels, have your feet flat, or maybe need a block under your pelvis to pause for a moment. All right, that felt good. We're gonna do that again. We're gonna do that 2 more times. This time I'm gonna move the blocks down to the medium setting. You might wanna keep yours high or take them low. So again, thumbs to SI joints, hands on the sides of the pelvis, and you're lengthening the tail down, lifting the pubis up, growing the knees down and back. I always feel like I have little road runner legs here. Growing down and back with the knees. Lift up, inhale, and then bring your hands onto your blocks for Ustrasana, camel pose. Root the shins down. Press the pubis forward as you lift the pubis up, the pubic symphysis, the bottom front of the pelvis. If you were up against a wall, your pelvis, your pubic bone, would be pressing into the wall. The fronts of your thighs would be pressing into a wall. Peel the shoulders open, lift the heart out of the shoulder blades. On your inhale, you'll come up. And again, rest. Feel your heartbeat, the warmth that you've begun to build. And we'll do that 1 more time. So maybe now you don't need your blocks. Maybe that was too low and you want to go back to the high setting. I'm going to stay on the medium setting. I'm just going to move my blocks back a little bit farther. Hands on your hips. Scrub the sacrum down. Lift the sternum, lift the pubis, and you're going to come back. Check in with your neck again. Are you able to talk freely? Notice if your larynx, your voice box feels restricted or tight. If so, lengthen the back of the neck, lengthen the back of the skull off of the back of the neck. Roll the inner thighs back. Ungrip around the tail so the sitting bones are wide. 1 more inhale. 1 more exhale, lift the heart. And then inhale, come up. And you'll sit down onto your heels. All right, from here, you're going to put a block between your feet with your toes tucked. So it's on the high, skinny setting. And I'll face sideways the rest of this. And then you're gonna sit down onto this block. Now, if this isn't high enough, you put a blanket or a couple pillows on top of the block. Any pain in your knees, you elevate or you skip it. Now flex all of your toes. So I actually have to manually adjust my pinky toes forward, and then you walk your knees backwards. And you're still seated on the block, and we're just gonna stretch the soles of the feet for a moment.
While we're here, you can interlace your fingers, flip the palms, and reach the arms up. Big inhale, push the ceiling up. Did you displace your spine or your ribs? You want to lift the pubis and the front of the spine up. And release the arms, switch the interlacing of your fingers. You put the other one on top, flip your palms. Big inhale, arms go up. Grow up through the crown of your head. Anchor down through your tail. And release your hands down. All right, last pose we're going to do is a twist to help alleviate any tension in the spine that that back bend may have created. So you're gonna sit on your block on the low setting, of course turn it higher if you wish. And you'll stretch your left leg out in front of you and step your right foot down. So I'll do this one facing the side so you can see from the side. So left leg is stretching forward, right foot is stamping down. I like to have a block behind me. You're gonna lift your right arm up, your left arm up, and you'll twist to the right. The elbow comes outside of your right knee, left elbow outside of the right knee, forearm vertical, and then left hand onto the block behind you. You're going to use your left arm to help lift the spine, especially the right side of the spine. You'll take an inhale, exhale, and turn. As you inhale, breathe full into your right lung, and then exhale from your left lung to twist more deeply. Let's do 2 more breaths like that. Inhale into the right lung, grow tall up to the right armpit. Exhale from the left lung, gently turn the spine. You're not pushing with your arm to turn. You're using your muscles of your core to turn. 1 more breath, inhale and exhale. You'll inhale to untwist, stretch your right leg forward, bend your left knee, step the left foot down, right next to the right inner thigh, and you'll reach your right arm up, grow really tall through the right side of your body, and twist to the left. Elbow will hook outside of the left knee, the left hand will come to the block or the ground behind you. Grow tall up through your spine, take a breath in, exhale, twist to the left. See if you can roll both collarbones back and wide, widening both scapula to the sides of the body. Inhale into the left lung. Exhale from your right lung and turn. Maybe you're gazing out of the left corners of your eye or even twisting to the left through your eyeballs. Keep your forehead and your brow soft. 2 more breaths like that. Inhale, grow taller. From your right lung, you exhale, you twist deeper. Inhale into the left lung and exhale to twist. Inhale to untwist and stretch both legs forward. All right, let's sit for a moment. You can take 2 blocks under low setting and make a little shelf for yourself. Always adding height if this is not comfortable. And we'll sit cross-legged, adjusting glutes and knees. Rest your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. Sense your breath. Maybe you can feel the beat of your own heart. The swell of the lungs around the heart. Bring your hands to prayer, connect your prayer to your sternum. Have your fingertips pointing slightly out. Elbows drip down. Upper arm bones, humeral heads externally rotated. Keep your spine lifted. Keep that bronchial tree, the trachea, really lifted as you bow your head to your heart. Eyes soften in. Hands release down, float your head up, and open your eyes. Nice work today. Thanks for joining. See you soon.